Iran's supreme leader stated today that Iran's youth will witness the demise of Israel and American civilizations. Iran has issued promises like this repeatedly through the years. Will it ever act upon its promises? Let's see what the Bible says. Well, it's so interesting. Here we are. Everything is in a state of flux in the Middle East. It's being reported that the United States is moving as high as 10,000 troops into Iraq right now. We thought we were finished with Iraq. President Trump has placed very strong sanctions against Iran, so much so that Iran is in a headlock. They're trying to stop Iran from exporting any oil. That's over 40% of its economy. Iran simply cannot exist at this. It's as though President Trump has decided that the government of Iran must go. He's tired of the spreading of revolution. They continually feed Hezbollah. They feed the Houthis in Yemen. They also support Hamas. So apparently President Trump has decided to use America's economic power and leverage to cure the problem once and for all. It's very interesting. Now, today, an article came up in the Israel National News that Mr. Ayatollah Khomeini is predicting the demise of Israel and the United States. Here's what the article had to say. Iran's youth will witness the demise of Israel and American civilization, the country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khomeini, said on Wednesday, according to Reuters. You young people should be assured that you will witness the demise of the enemies of humanity, meaning the degenerate American civilization, and the demise of Israel, Khomeini was quoted as having said in a meeting with students. He gave no further details, but Khomeini is notorious for his rhetoric against the United States and Israel. Khomeini regularly verbally attacks Israel. He has several times in the past referred to the Jewish state as a cancer and threatened to annihilate the cities of Tel Aviv and Haifa. Now, let's pause there just a moment, because when you have this kind of rhetoric going forth, what is going on in the mind of Israel? Now, they lived through the Nazi era when Adolf Hitler continually talked about wiping Israel off the map. Nobody believed him, including the Jews themselves. However, he wasn't blowing smoke. He meant what he said. Now, it's commonly said among the Jewish people, if someone threatens our annihilation, we take it seriously. We didn't the last time, and we lost 1/3 of our population, 6 million people. We're not going to turn a blind eye again. We are going to take it seriously. Now, repeatedly through the years, the leaders of Iran have threatened to destroy the big Satan, the United States, and the little Satan, Israel. That's the way they have addressed us through the years, and this hasn't been once or twice. It has been repeatedly. So here we are. It seems like it's starting up again. Should they be believed? And in fact, are we headed for war? Now, in this article, Khomeini says, we're not going to war. However, if the economic blockade gets severe enough, and if it is effective enough, you never know what may happen. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we've got this prophecy in the Bible in Revelation chapter number 9 of war that will wipe out 1/3 of mankind, and that war is to begin from the area of the Euphrates River, and Iran is one of the states through which the Euphrates River flows. So we can't totally disregard some of these things. And don't forget, the prophecies of the Bible always come to pass. Now, in late November, Khomeini took to Twitter, where he belittled Israel and asserted that it is clearly weaker than 10 to 20 years ago. Now, I want to pause there for a moment because I've had concerns about Israel growing weaker. It seems like Israel does not have that cutting edge that she used to have, that bold determination that she used to have. But I don't know whether that's true or not, but Khomeini says it's not as strong as it was 10, 20 years ago. Now, before we're done, we're going to go to the scriptures and see what the Bible says about the future of Iran and the future of the United States and the future of the nation of Israel, because there are specific prophecies that address this very issue. Whatever you do, don't go away. We'll be back in just a moment.
We've seen Bible prophecy fulfilled like never before. From the halls of the United Nations to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, Endtime Ministries continues to reveal the Bible prophecy in the news headlines around the world every day. Whether it's through our broadcast or online at our Jerusalem Prophecy College, your gifts enable us to put vital materials in the hands of those who need it most. Because of you, we continue to replace fear with faith in the hearts of Christians around the world. We will continue to see prophecy come to pass at an even swifter pace. We need your support. Your donation of any amount enables us to continue to broadcast and be a voice in the ever-growing censored media. To become a partner or give a one-time gift, visit endtime.com or call 1-800-END-TIME right now. That's 800-363-8463. Go online now. Visit endtime.com.
Have you had a longing to visit the cities where Jesus healed, ministered, and taught every day? Judy and I would like to invite you to travel to the wonderful land of Israel. Experience the Word of God in vivid color while walking down the roads of the Holy Land with us.
When you are ready to experience Israel, we recommend you travel with Endtime Ministries. You will not only experience historical and present-day Israel, you will also learn about the prophesied future to come. It's as if we traveled back in time to visit a different era and discovered ourselves in an ancient time. The tour is very well organized, the accommodations are first class, and the food is delicious. If you have ever had a desire to visit Israel, there is no better time than now. Ann from Colorado.
To sign up to receive your Experience Israel 2019 packet, call Adrian or Jana at 1-800-ENDTIME or go to endtime.com. We can't wait to experience Israel with you.
I've just recently returned from the Middle East. We spent a lot of time in Israel, plus we went through Greece and through the Aegean Sea cruise. It was a marvelous experience. But having been there and walked in some of the footsteps of the Apostle Paul and others, it's like everything is much more real to me now than ever before. I'm sure Dave has told you about the 54 people we baptized, 52 of them in the Jordan River and 2 of them on the Isle of Patmos. That was a great experience. We've never done that one before. Nevertheless, great, wonderful tour. It was amazing. Even though we were plagued by sickness somehow, a sick bug got into our group, and many of us caught it. I'm not over it altogether yet. Nevertheless, it was an absolutely fabulous tour. I hope you can go with us the next time. Now I want to get back to this claim from the Khomeini that Israel is going to cease to exist, that America is going to cease to exist. Now that's what he's predicting. But we're going to look at what the Bible says before it's done. Let's continue on here. Several days after he made some of these statements, Khomeini took to Twitter again to blast the United States and Israel. And he said there that today, Israel and the Zionist regime are going to be condemned to hell for threatening the Iranian nation. I mean, the American people, the American government is hurting Iran. We are tired of Iran exporting terrorism throughout the world. They're the world's #1 exporter of terrorism. We're tired of that happening. The thing that allows them to do this is their oil riches. But once we cut off their oil revenue, then it puts them in a very difficult situation. Now, Khomeini went on to say that America's threats and atrocities have so far failed and will continue to fail. The sanctions will also be defeated by the grace of the resistance, he wrote. His latest comments come amid renewed tensions between Iran and the United States after Washington sent more military forces to the Middle East, including an aircraft carrier, B-52 bombers, and Patriot missiles. Now, one of the things that precipitated all this was that Iran had stated that if they were not able to ship oil, nobody would be able to, and they threatened to shut down the oil lanes. They have supervision over the Strait of Hormuz, which is one of the main oil lanes by way of ship in the Middle East, in the world actually. So they begin to make threats like this. Consequently, President Trump has moved aircraft carriers and major forces very rapidly into the Middle East to send a message to Iran. Don't even think about it. Don't even try it, because we are not going to allow you to stop the shipping of oil and to bring about an oil crisis in the world. Now, Khomeini said last week that there would be no war with the United States. 2 weeks ago, Iran notified the remaining signatories to the Iranian nuclear deal, China, France, Germany, Russia, and the United Kingdom, that it would halt some commitments under the nuclear deal, a year after the United States unilaterally withdrew from the accord. So that's what's going on right now. Now, presently, France, Russia, China are stating they're still going to buy from Iran, that they're not going to honor the boycott. However, they got a big problem, because any of their big businesses that continue to do business with Iran are suddenly cut off from doing business with America, and our economy is 45 times as large as the economy of Iran. And if you have a choice between losing a 1/45th of your trade and 44/45 of your trade, what would you do? So America has a lot of financial leverage, and President Trump knows it. That's the reason he's able to be so effective in imputing these trade sanctions onto Iran. Now, let's take a look with this boast of Iran that the United States and Israel will cease to exist. Both of these powers are prophesied in the Bible, as well as Iran. In Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 1 through 6, we're going to start with verse 4. There's a prophecy in verse 1 through 6 about an international force that will invade Israel during the Battle of Armageddon. And here's what it says in verse 4. And I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. Now, this first part of the prophecy is referring specifically to Russia. Then verse 5 expands the prophecy, saying Persia, which is the ancient name for Iran, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarma of the north quarters, that's Turkey, and all of his bands, and many people with thee. So this is a specific prophecy in Ezekiel 38. And this prophecy is the battle of Armageddon. And it states here that Russia, Iran, Turkey, Ethiopia, Libya, and others will come down against Israel to attempt to wipe Israel off the map. So what Iran is saying is no idle threat. They would do it today if they thought they could. When they were moving very rapidly towards getting nuclear weapons, there were repeated promises by the presidents of the United States of America that Iran was not going to get their hands on a nuclear weapon. However, the treaty that was negotiated with the Barack Obama administration did stop them from getting nuclear weapons for a while, but destroyed none of their capability. And after a period of 10 years, they could go back and do whatever they chose to do. Well, 10 years passes very quickly in international affairs. That's the reason that President Trump withdrew and said, we're not going to be a part of that. We're not going to allow Iran to have nuclear weapons today, tomorrow, 10 years from now, or ever. Because if you take the worst terrorist organization in the world and give them nuclear weapons, you have a global nightmare of unprecedented dimensions. That's the reason President Trump has taken the very critical stand that he has now taken. So that's where we find ourselves right now. Again, Iran has said one nuclear bomb on Haifa or on Tel Aviv would destroy the entire nation of Israel, and it would. However, the United States has repeatedly promised we will never let that happen. So, will Iran try? Once the United Nations, and that's what this force in Ezekiel chapter 38 is describing, once the United Nations makes its move to come down against Israel at the Battle of Armageddon, Iran is going to be a happy participant. They are going to contribute troops along with Russia and with others. Now, all these forces right now are lying together against Israel and the United States of America. But the United States is also building a coalition in Israel. It's very interesting. Now, there's another article, A New Era in Israel Gulf State Relations. This article comes out of the besacenter.org. Many in the Gulf are beginning to grasp that their support for the Palestinians is detrimental to their own interests. Now, let's pause just a moment. What are we talking about here? We are talking about the nations such as United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Bahrain, Egypt. They know that Iran fully intends to rule the entire Middle East, and they've stated it repeatedly, they plan to do it. Well, who's going to stop Iran from doing that? Russia is an ally of Iran. So where are these other nations? These other nations are Sunni nations. Iran is a Shia nation. So in that situation, they're opposed to each other. But none of the nations, such as Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Jordan, have the power to withstand the military of Iran, but the United States of America does. The first trip President Trump made overseas after his election as president was to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia gathered together 51 Sunni Arab leaders to hear President Trump speak. He won them over very quickly. Now then, Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, has been stating to them repeatedly, look, what do you have to lose? The Palestinians have gotten you nothing but heartache and trouble for the last 70 years. We are ready to help you to prosper. We're ready to bring the economic might of the United States of America to build up your nations. And furthermore, if the Palestinians will cooperate, we'll turn the Middle East into a second Singapore. Well, this is music to the ears. Furthermore, the United States says, we will protect you against Iran. However, if you get the U.S., you're going to get Israel along with it. So now all of these Arab states that have traditionally had hatred against Israel are saying, wait, if we have to choose between our own safety and putting up with Mahmoud Abbas and the Palestinians and all their problems, we think we're in a new era when we need to align ourselves with the United States of America, the world's #1 military power, and also the nation of Israel. After all, Israel is here to stay. Nobody denies that. Consequently, that's what's going on right now in the thinking of all these Arab states. So Jared Kushner and Jason Greenblatt, the two envoys from President Trump to the Middle East, they are thinking, you know, we have a chance to form an unprecedented alliance here. And we have a chance to get the world's #1 superpower to become our protector. Why not? In this article, it goes on to say, in addition to practical considerations, the fact that the Palestinians, I want you to watch here as we're continuing on, the fact that the Palestinians have grown closer to Iran has sparked ire in many Gulf states. So the Palestinians are sort of siding with Iran, but that's the worst enemy that Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and others have. So they're saying, why should we risk our future supporting someone who is siding with our enemy? So this has made them angry toward the Palestinians. Now they're saying to the Palestinians, look, we've got a chance to change the entire Middle East. Right now, the Palestinians have 50% unemployment. The United States of America has 3.6% unemployment. Trump is saying to the Palestinians, if you will align with us, we'll bring in economic forces from all over the world. We'll give you good jobs. You'll be able to prosper. Your unemployment will go down, 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 down. And you won't have to depend on everybody else from now on for your economic welfare. We will give you your own economy, and you will be blessed as never before. But the Palestinians say, but we hate Israel so much, and they don't know for sure whether they're going to get a Palestinian state or not. Now, don't forget, President Trump has put together a peace deal. It's ready right now. It has two arms to it. It has the economic arm and it has the political arm. So far, both of those arms have not been revealed. The latest news is, though, that on June the 25th, there's going to be a conference in Bahrain, and all of the powers of the Middle East are being invited there, and they're going to unveil this economic arm first. Already Saudi Arabia says she's going. The United Arab Emirates is going. Egypt is going. All these powers, they're urging the Palestinians to go, but the Palestinians are being obstinate. Now, President Trump, he's saying, look, If the Palestinians are not interested in our plan, we'll go right around them, because the Palestinians are a relatively small entity. We don't have to have them. That's what's going on right now in the Middle East. Now, the article goes on to say that the ire of the different Gulf states has been sparked because they see the Islamist regime of Iran as an enemy, and the Palestinians increasingly close ties with Iran as a betrayal. They've been funding the Palestinians for 70 years, and yet they are getting no loyalty in return. What has changed in the Gulf? How has support for the Palestinians been replaced by support for Israel? And that is what is happening. Don't ever forget it. President Trump thinks outside the box, and he is coming in a total different angle at peace in the Middle East. It appears that the people of the Gulf are adopting a new stance as they begin to grasp that their support for the Palestinians is detrimental to their own interest. In addition to practical considerations, the fact that the Palestinians have grown closer to Iran has sparked the anger in many of the Gulf states. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are right now. It's going to be very interesting to watch the next 30 days. We're 30 days away from June the 25th, when the economic arm is going to be unleashed. Now, in the meantime, Israel is negotiating their government. They have until next Wednesday to put together a government. There's even the possibility they won't get it done, and they will have to call new elections. Can't tell you for sure what's going to happen there. All I can tell you is we are in prophetic territory right now. If you really want to understand the end time, we have a 14 DVD course called Understanding the End Time. Every person on earth should go through that course today. If you're interested, call us, 800 End Time.
Move Mountains with Irvin Baxter. This book by Irvin's grandson provides 30 days of devotion that will enhance your relationship with God and others. Authentic illustrations from early morning devotions at End Time will help you find your purpose and eliminate fears. Commit to taking this 30-day journey and experience real life change. Get your book for only $14.99. Call 1-800-363-8463 or go to endtime.com/move.
If ever people needed to hear the unvarnished truth, it is now. There are some subjects that are not politically correct to talk about, but they're urgent. That's why I'm grateful for Endtime magazine. If you're not a subscriber, you're missing information that will impact your life. Endtime has a bi-monthly magazine that explains how current events are fulfilling Bible prophecy. You can get a 2-year subscription for only $29. You can also get a bulk subscription and pass them out to your church. We have gotten reports that Endtime magazine has caused spiritual awakenings in churches when they see the prophecies being fulfilled right now. You can start your own ministry and leave them in doctor's offices, libraries, laundromats. You never know if you might be responsible for saving someone who is searching for the unvarnished truth. That's what the magazine has done in many lives. Call 1-800-END-TIME. That's 1-800-363-8463 and get your subscription today.
If your station only carries the first 30 minutes of End of the Age, go to endtime.com and click the watch button to continue today's broadcast. You can also finish up later by clicking the archive button.
I haven't had the chance to take your calls in a long time because I was in Israel. Many times we did not have an adequate internet connection. Also, I've been fighting a sickness. I'm sure you can tell by my voice today. I hope it's not too annoysome to you, but we are taking your calls in this segment of the program. If you'd like to be on the air with me, anything you'd like to ask about our tour to Israel, about the elections in Israel, about what is going on behind the scenes with all of our troop movements into Israel, all these things are vital and important. The number to call to be on the air with me, 877-END-TIME, 363-8463. Such interesting things are happening, and everything is moving so fast, and everybody's wondering, okay, what is really going on here? Are we on the brink of war in the Middle East? Are we on the brink of a peace agreement in the Middle East? Can we know anything for sure about what, in fact, is going on right now? Now, the right-wing portion of the Israeli electorate won about 65 seats. However, a few of the parties that have control of 5 or 6 seats, they are demanding large participating in the new government of Benjamin Netanyahu than their 4 or 5 or 6 seats demands or deserves. Consequently, Benjamin Netanyahu is having difficulty putting a government together. He already asked for a 2-week the extension, which he got. Now then, though, here we are about 6 days away from that being over. If he does not get a government put together by next Wednesday, he is going to be forced to say to President Rivlin, I cannot put a government together. He can do one of two things. He can hand it back to Rivlin, who can then go to the Blue and White Party and say to them, look, it's your turn to try. And that risks getting a liberal government in Israel, which would be more than happy to return to 67 borders. They would be more than willing to create a Palestinian state. So this is something that many Israelis fear. Netanyahu does not want to make that happen. Now, the other thing he could do is he could declare the government invalid, and that would precipitate new elections again. So we could see ourselves thrown into the process all over again. It's going to be very interesting. The next 5-6 days are going to really tell a tale. Now, while you're dialing, and by the way, the number to call, 877 Endtime. While you're doing that, something else is happening in our world that has not gotten the press that it deserves. Elections are taking place in the European Union. The entire parliament of the European Union, 761 seats, is being elected today, tomorrow, and the next day. The 24th, I believe it is, the 23rd through the 26th. Those elections are taking place in the European Parliament. Now, don't forget, this is where the Antichrist is going to come from, is from Europe. We're going to do a special next week on this subject. And so it's going to be very important that you tune in with us all next week, because you need to understand what is really going on. The European Union is the rebirth of the Holy Roman Empire. We're going to show you from the Bible how we know that for certain, because you need to know that, because that gives us the proof that the Antichrist will come from this part of the world. Now, the Antichrist may be running for one of the offices in the president elections. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he's not, but we're getting close enough to the end that the likelihood is very, very high. So consequently, make sure you stay with us all next week. We'll be telling you what's happening with the Israeli government, whether they're able to put together a government or not. We're going to be giving you the inside story of the elections in the European Union, which is nothing else but the reborn Holy Roman Empire. We're going to be giving you all that information, and it's so vital that you understand that. Okay, well, let's get to our phone calls right now. Brandon is calling from Missouri. Hello, Brandon. Nice to hear from you. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Irvin, Baxter, how you doing?
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
Okay, I got a question. I was wondering if you think this could be leading America back to its Christian roots, but I've been studying, and I've heard from you guys that abortion could be made illegal again. So I was wondering if you think that could be God trying to bring us back to its roots, Christian roots, and actually become a great nation again, so it doesn't affect Israel, you know?
Brandon, there are some signs that we're returning to a level of spiritual sanity. Abortion is one of the bellwether issues because we've seen 70 million babies killed since 1973. It even pains me to say that. We're talking about babies with a beating heart, and some of them late-term abortions. It is just absolutely ghastly. It's horrendous that in a supposedly civilized nation that we could see this level of slaughter of infants.
Georgia can basically do it up until birth. I believe it's Georgia that does that.
Right now there are several courts that have ruled that even if a baby, they attempt to abort it and they fail and the baby lives and is born, that they make a choice then as to whether to give the baby the necessary care to continue to live or just to let it die. And that boggles my mind that can happen here in the United States of America, but that is where we are right now.
Okay, I was wondering if you think it could affect us going fully back to Christian roots for the most part, and if it deals with Bible prophecy with America.
Yeah, well, Brandon, several states have recently passed new laws forbidding abortion.
Yeah.
And that means that this is going to be challenged in the court, and it will go all the way to the Supreme Court. President Trump has appointed 2 new Supreme Court judges. Will they stand on the side of life or not? We truly could see abortion, the laws concerning abortion, changed back to a level of sanity, and it could in fact be a one step. There are other things that have to be done, but nevertheless, I think you're right that we may see America reasserting itself as a more godly nation than we have been over the last 40 or 50 years.
Yeah. Thanks for the help.
Okay, well, thank you, Brandon. And I think we should all be praying. Frankly, I am absolutely stunned right now that one of the leading Democratic candidates for the presidency is actually a man married to another man, and nobody's got the guts to say anything about it. I mean, everybody's acting like this is quite all right, that a sodomite is running for president of the United States. Do I believe that he will win the presidency? No, I don't. But to even be able to get a significant following in the United States of America is horrendous. When God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah for this very thing, I think he's running number 3 right now in the polls for the Democratic nomination. Absolutely horrible. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to be praying humbly before God. I don't mean to cause anyone any harm, but I am just saying that this is repulsive in the sight of Almighty God and should not be happening. For the Democratic Party to be putting this type of a situation, a sodomite, openly forward and proclaiming that he may be the future of the Democratic Party is beyond my comprehension. That's what's happening in America, and we all need to be fervently praying and speaking against it right now. So that's another thing that's happening right now. Let's get back to the phones. Mark is calling from Indiana. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Irvin Baxter. I had a question on end times. Is there anything in the Bible on Canada or Mexico, Central America, or South America?
There's nothing that I know of in the Bible about Canada or Mexico except to say this, The Bible is crystal clear that the United States is going to be against the world government and strongly aligned with Israel. If Canada follows our lead, then I believe that Canada would enjoy the favor of God. If Canada, though, sides with the United Nations and with the New World Order that is now being birthed in the world, then Canada would end up aligning herself with the one world government of the Antichrist. So that will be a choice that the people of Canada will make, and that will be a choice that the people of Mexico will make.
So there's a possibility we'll have a military conflict on either the northern border or southern border, or both of them then, correct?
Well, actually, I don't think necessarily that there would be a military conflict. Here's what the Bible paints. It shows America defending Israel against the one world government. It doesn't come to a showdown until Armageddon, and the showdown will be in the nation of Israel. It will be in the form of an invasion of Israel by the international community, and that international force will be made up of Russia, Iran, Turkey, Ethiopia, Libya, and others. So whether it would come to the borders of the U.S. or not, I don't think there's any indication. I really don't imagine that that would happen. But at the same time, it's going to be America and Israel basically against the world. I would love to see Canada and Mexico side with us in that coalition. I can't say that for sure.
All right. Is there anything about the immigration that's going on from the southern border in the Bible? They speak of that anywhere?
I don't know anything about that right now, except that when Israel was not able to defend its borders, it was open prey to its enemies. And in America, we have lost the ability presently to defend our borders. And that way, anyone can come in, and the most dangerous thing is not crime and other things, even though that's a real danger. The drug problem is a horrible problem. But the worst problem is the people that come here with their anti-Judeo-Christian philosophies. They come here bringing belief systems that undermine the belief systems that has made the United States of America great. That's the biggest danger of all.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Okay, and thank you as well. Well, it was so refreshing while we were in Israel. We had 100 travelers with us, and over 15 of them were enrolled in the Jerusalem Prophecy College. Many others said they were going to enroll as soon as they got back into the States, and so it was very encouraging.
Many Christians admit end-time Bible prophecy is very complex and difficult to understand, and for some, a little bit scary. But what if you could understand Bible prophecy? What if you could know what will happen and how the United States will play a key role during end-time events? When you call today and get Understanding the End Time DVD curriculum, you can have peace about what is to come while understanding the prophetic events that appear in our headlines every day. When you call or go online to endtime.com and order, you'll learn the answer to the biggest prophecy question of all. Will the rapture take place, and when will it happen? This 14-part DVD series is the definitive end-time prophecy Bible study available. And for this limited time, you can get it for just $149. Don't miss this special offer. Understanding the End Time. Call now. 1-800-363-8463. That's 1-800-END-TIME. Or go to endtime.com today.
We're coming right back to take your calls today. Let's go now to Maryland. Christine is calling. Hello, Christine.
Hi, Brother Baxter. So good to hear you back again today.
Well, I'm sorry that my voice is not as strong as normal, but I'm glad to be back.
Well, better your voice with good prophetic conversation than, the no voice at all. But my question today is I've been very concerned, and I've been praying for our farmers out in the Midwest. I've heard how decimated the corn and the soybean crops are. I've heard about Australia where Normally they export most of their wheat crop, but now theirs is gone and they have to import things. And I've heard about some things in Europe, and I was wondering if this massive crop failure this year has any prophetic significance.
Well, I don't know the exact statistics, Christine. A lot of times you hear the worst news. However, up until now, most of the time we end up having plenty of crops to provide to the world. The biggest concern right now is that we can't sell our crops to China, which is one of the number one consumers of our crops. Yet President Trump is taking the 25% tax that he's now placing on a lot of our products. He's taken the revenue, which amounts to billions of dollars, and he's subsidizing the farmers right now to keep them from hurting too badly. And I'm sorry, I don't have the statistics concerning the crops in front of me, so I won't be able to answer that sufficiently. But as far as I know right now, the crops are still, there's going to be plenty to eat for the people around the world, as far as I know, and I'll try to check on that to be able to answer that more completely.
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you, Christine.
Right, bye-bye.
Let's go now to Michael calling from Florida. Hello, Michael.
Hello.
What's on your mind?
I was wondering, did the destruction of Elam spoken of in Jeremiah happen by Alexander the Great? Or if not, doesn't that mean this peace deal won't be the one that brings in the final 7 years, because the destruction and restoring of the fortunes has to happen as well?
Now, let me make sure I understand your question, Michael. Are you talking about the ram fighting with the he-goat in Daniel chapter number 8? Is that what you're referring to?
No, I'm talking about in Jeremiah, where it says, I will break the bow of Elam, which is Persia.
Oh, I understand. I am not sure I can answer that question. Of course, he will, at the Battle of Armageddon, Persia will be defeated. There's no doubt about that. All of the powers that come against Israel at the Battle of Armageddon. So if that prophecy does refer to Persia, then it's certainly going to happen, the Battle of Armageddon. The Bible says, I will gather the nations that come against Jerusalem, and I will plead with them in the valley of Jehoshaphat. So all of the nations that come down under the UN flag will be horribly judged. As a matter of fact, all but 1/6 of Russia will be destroyed during the Battle of Armageddon. So I don't have the scripture that you're referring to at the fingertips of my memory right now, but there's no doubt about it. Iran is coming down with Russia. They both will be horribly decimated by Jesus Christ and his army during the Battle of Armageddon.
All right, well, it does sound awesome for Israel what's going to happen. But so you think the restoration of Elam could happen after that?
Again, I'm sorry, I do not have that prophecy clearly in my mind, Michael, so
Okay.
I'll have to look it up. We know that there will be many nations that will live during the millennial reign, and they will live under the rulership of Jesus Christ and his church for the next 1,000 years. I can't tell you for sure whether Iran will be a part of those nations or not.
Okay, because it also talks about the destruction of Damascus in that chapter. So if these things are coming, or if they already passed with the Alexander the Great, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Well, the destruction of Damascus, as prophesied in Isaiah 17:1, has not
Yeah, that one
happened
hasn't
yet.
happened yet.
Many
No.
people have thought that it was going to happen during the present civil war, but Damascus is still standing. I have studied that passage over and over. It appears to me it will be fulfilled during the Battle of Armageddon, because the borders of Israel will be restored to the total borders of the Promised Land as described to Abraham in Genesis chapter 15, verse 18. And Damascus is part of the promised land. The borders of Israel go all the way to the Euphrates River, which is another 6 hours on the other side of Damascus. So the borders of Israel will go all the way to the Euphrates during the millennial reign, and that's when Damascus will be destroyed, and all of that area will be controlled by the nation of Israel.
Have you seen where the military base on the Tigris River, the U.S. military base on the Tigris River in Iraq is? That's quite amazing that it's right there and it's getting threats, and it was actually targeted.
Yeah, we have 2 bases in Iraq right now, and the latest report over the last 2 or 3 days is that we're moving 10,000 troops into Iraq. We're moving troops out of Jordan, which of course is just next door to Iraq. We're moving troops back into Iraq, and I don't know what all this means, whether there is a war imminent with Iran or not. I do not know the answer to that, but according to the reports, we're moving 10,000 troops into Iraq right now.
All right, well, I'll let you go on to somebody else. God bless you, sir.
Okay, well, thank you, Michael. Appreciate the phone call. Let's go now to Renee calling from Kentucky. Hello, Renee.
Praise the Lord, Brother Baxter.
How are you today?
We're doing really good. Y'all had a good time in Israel, huh?
Yeah, it was fabulous. It was a great, great trip, except a lot of us got sick along the way, but we still had a great trip.
Good. Well, I just wanted you to know we missed you. I kept checking back. I'm like, when are they getting back? So that's about, I just wanted you to know that. But I just thought of something while I was sitting here. That one verse you were just talking about the claw, plucking with the claw. I can't remember how it went. What was that about now?
Well, I'm not sure what you're referring to. The Bible does say that I will put my hook in the jaws of Russia and bring them.
That one. What is that about again? I'm sorry.
That's in Ezekiel chapter number 38. And it says that I will put my hooks in the jaws of Russia and bring them down against Israel for the battle of Armageddon. Russia's going to think it's their idea, but it's going to be God's idea to pour out his judgment upon Russia during the battle of Armageddon. That's what that's referring to.
Okay then. Well, y'all have a good night. God bless you.
Okay, thank you, Renee. We're going now to Texas. Gary is calling from Texas. Hello, Gary.
Hi, Brother Baxter. Thank you for taking my call. My question is the battle of Gog and Magog the same as the Sixth Trumpet War? And if not, when does that battle take place?
The Battle of Gog and Magog is not the same as the Sixth Trumpet War, because the Battle of Gog and Magog is the Battle of Armageddon. But the Sixth Trumpet War is in Revelation chapter number 9, and it happens before the beginning of the Great Tribulation, because the final 3.5 years, called the Great Tribulation, begins in chapter number 10. So this war will happen prior to that, either before the signing of the Middle East Peace Agreement, or else between the signing of the agreement and the first 3.5 years. So they're not the same war, no.
Okay. Well, thank you. That clarifies it. I appreciate it very much.
Okay. Well, you're most welcome. And, you know, all of us that understand these things, we're looking at the present escalation of tensions in the Middle East right now. We're not talking about a small escalation here. We're talking about a huge escalation of tensions. And with the new alignment of the United States, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Egypt, Jordan, against Iran and Russia, to see this new alignment of nations, we already can see the possibility of a war that would wipe out 1/3 of mankind. And I hate to talk about it because it is intimidating, to say the least. I wish it were not going to happen, but it is going to happen. I would be failing you if I did not tell you it's going to happen. The prophecies always come to pass. No exception. If the Bible prophesies it and we understand it properly, then it's going to happen. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. I want to pause in the few minutes we have left to tell you a little bit about our trip to Israel. We had such wonderful people on this tour. It was really tremendous. And of all the ones on the tour, out of 100 or so, we baptized 54 of them, 52 in the Jordan River, and then 2 on the Isle of Patmos. That was really special because we've never done that before. And to be on the Isle of Patmos where the book of Revelation was written, and don't forget, that book was not written for then. It was written about 95, 96 AD, but it was not written for then. It was written for us now. And to stand there and watch us baptizing people there on the same island where John the Revelator wrote that book 2,000 years ago, but he wrote it for us. He went to his grave not even knowing what he wrote. However, we now understand almost everything that he wrote in the book of Revelation, and the events of the book of Revelation are in the process of happening right now. Some of them have happened already. Other parts of them are yet to come. I was so gratified when I asked our group, how many of you are enrolled in the Jerusalem Prophecy College? Out of 100, we had at least 15. And some of them have already completed the entire college. The rest of those that were with us that had not enrolled yet promised that they were going to enroll when they understood the importance of it. And I want to say to all of you out there, if you're not yet enrolled in the Jerusalem Prophecy College, do it today. Because the Bible says that they that understand among the people shall instruct many. This college has the information that you need to really, really know what's going on. You won't be just shooting in the dark. You're going to understand the prophecies so that you will be able to be among those that are instructing many as all these prophecies are breaking around about us. So if you have not yet enrolled in the Jerusalem Prophecy College, simply go to JerusalemProphecyCollege.com. Register, enroll in your first course. Now, we have set the tuition ridiculously low. Most colleges charge thousands of dollars per semester. We have set our tuition at $59 per semester, almost nothing. Take advantage of it now. JerusalemProphecyCollege.com. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.
This has been End of the Age, brought to you by the faithful partners of Endtime Ministries. If you're not currently a partner with Endtime Ministries, or if you would like more information, we invite you to call us at 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463, or visit us online at endtime.com.
Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page.